the vice president of communication for the Philadelphia 76ers, formerly of the UFC, where he made his home in Las Vegas, Nevada. The Sixers will be in the Las Vegas. I guess that's the NBA Summer League, they call that one, after finishing the Utah Jazz Summer League. And Dave Sholler is in studio with us, where we'll rap about a bunch of things. But first, Dave, welcome back, and of course, good to see you back in the home state again, pal.
Feels good to be home. It's the summer of Sixers. Our team just landed in Las Vegas.
You just said it was a summer of Gill in the break there.
Yeah, well, I know when to play to the audience, Mike. Fortunate to be heading out to Vegas tomorrow morning for Summer League. Play the Celtics tomorrow. Have a couple other things we got cooking out there in Vegas. It's an exciting time for our team and the organization, and it's cool to see the fans rallying. Yeah,
and we'll get into some Sixers stuff because I know there's a lot of exciting things on the horizon in terms of ticket sales. The new building is up and running, and you know, it's funny, if you've been watching these Summer League games, even though if you can make it through the guys who are calling those games, they're kind of rough, but Bowler Jack and the Boner, is that who it is calling those games out there? Is that what he keeps saying?
Craig Bowler Jack. Fantastic that you just did that.
That's what he keeps saying. He keeps calling the guy, it's Booner, but he keeps kind of, whatever. But
he's very excited to say his name. I mean, what joke do you
right,
want to see
Booner? One of the things they keep talking about is the Jazz are building a new practice facility as well. So they're apparently the one that the University of Utah has. They're saying that is like the nicest one in the entire country. So you can discuss a little bit of that. But first, let's talk about Christmas in July, which is something that we put our heads together on, and it's really fluid. Day by day, it's getting bigger and bigger. This was a conversation we had over lunch about a month ago, and then yesterday we kind of said, all right, let's roll it out there, and then today I got some more text messages from you, and boy, it sounds like July 31st at Golden Nugget in Atlantic City with East Coast Roofing, Siding, and Windows, that we are going to have an event that will be very memorable. And the people, all you guys need to do to have an opportunity to win some of the prizes that Dave will talk about is just donate to a great cause. And I don't think that that's asking a whole heck of a lot with some of the things that we're asking for. Water, toilet paper, toothpaste, paper towels, stuff that you can get pretty cheaply and just drop off here and a couple other locations. But Dave, tell us a little bit about the event and who it's going to benefit and some of the things that are going to be attached to this awesome broadcast.
And what's awesome about this, Mike, and you nailed it, is we started, talking about this over lunch, but the culmination of this really started when I moved home. I sent you a text message in November and said, let's get something going. We did our first supplies drive in December. And what happened is the response was incredible. We were able to partner with the Atlantic City Rescue Mission, which has been serving residents in this area for more than 50 years. And right now it's a time of need for them as they continue to try to serve a record number of area residents battling homelessness, addiction, poverty, and some of the other ailments that life springs upon people. It's been incredibly powerful to see 97.3 ESPN step up to the plate along with Golden Nugget, Atlantic City. You want to talk about an iconic global entertainment property coming on board as our presenting sponsor. And then you balance that with a really, really cool local business run by Larry Steitler since 1979. East Coast Roofing, Siding, and Windows has been there for our area residents. And one of the cool things about Larry that I really appreciate is he's actually been quietly taking care of homeless and children in need since his business opened in 1979. So to have those guys on board to help the Atlantic City Rescue Mission continue to restock their shelves for area residents in need. Earlier today, the 76ers came on board in a big way. We will have 2 club box seats available for raffle. We'll also have a signed Dario Saric picture, which continues to increase in value every single day. The UFC is jumping on board with raffle items, cool memorabilia. I talked to the Phillies today. They're donating 2 tickets. The Flyers are donating tickets. HBO Boxing is coming on board with an incredible package that we're going to be able to raffle off. And a friend of the show here, former WWE champion CM Punk, is also going to be donating some great memorabilia for this auction. It all goes down July 31st at the Golden Nugget in Atlantic City. And Mike and Pete and Josh just have to tip the cap to you guys for jumping on board here.
Yeah, no, when we got to, came up with an idea, like, what can we do to help the rescue mission? We did something back in Christmas time where Gregory's was a big help with that. And we had, man, the truckload of stuff that rolled out of there that night was awesome to see. And
on 2 weeks' notice, by the way. We put that together in 2 weeks.
Right. And there's pictures on our website. Go to 973ESPN.com, and you can see a lot of the pictures from the truck that night. But we said, man, why not do something again and do something Christmas in July? Boom, let's put this together. But as you said, much more than 2 weeks this time, because let's get other people involved. Let's get the listeners involved and give back to them for donating. You guys donate, and now we give you an opportunity to win some of the things that Dave just talked about. And, man, some of the things, the Club Box tickets, a pair there, Dario Saric autograph stuff, the UFC stuff, the Flyers tickets, the Phillies tickets, the boxing stuff.
And that's just as of you and I putting this together 24 hours ago.
Right, exactly. So I would anticipate if you listen each day, you're going to hear this list probably expand and get bigger and bigger. And, that day should be really cool. I'm anticipating that we'll have some pretty interesting people calling in, and we're going to try to, make the 31st at the Golden Nugget a party, man. I mean, by the way, the Golden Nugget's great in terms of broadcasting. We're going to be right there when you come up the escalator, right in the main atrium there, and there's a great place right off to the right there where you can get a couple of cocktails and.
Why did you look at Pete when you said get a couple of cocktails?
That was confirmation. Are we going there? Yes.
But everything will be able to be, displayed out pretty nicely. So hopefully, the people listening out there are saying, you know what, boom, I'm going to go down to the store. I'm going to buy, I think water was something that was
huge,
dire need for. Hey, I'm going to go get a case of water, bring it down to the radio station, and then if you do that, boom. There you go. There's your voucher to enter to win some of these great prizes.
It's so easy. There's 3 locations. Obviously, the Golden Nugget on the 31st or anytime between now and the 31st here at the station on Tilton Road in Northfield, or the East Coast Roofing, Siding, and Windows location in Mays Landing. And, Mike, this part's important for me. The Atlantic City Rescue Mission was there for my family growing up. And it's tough to talk about that because there's pride involved, and you don't want to necessarily have to admit that you needed help during those times. But for me, to be able to have an incredible career at the UFC and now be home with the Philadelphia 76ers, I realize that the platform that we have, that you have, Mike, that you have, Pete and Josh, it's important that we give back. There are so many people in this area fighting back, trying to get back on their feet, overcoming addiction or homelessness, domestic violence, or just plain issues that face everyone in their lives. So to be a part of this, to be able to have big brands like 97.3, the Golden Nugget, East Coast Roofing, Siding, and Windows, it's really, really special. And for the listeners, just the prizes that Mike rattled off a few minutes ago, that all came in based on the groundswell that we created within 24 hours of this announcement. That is really powerful. So whether you're a local businessman driving around in the car right now or listening at the office and you want to jump on board, 973ESPN.com has all the details. There's not too much that we can offer here, whether it's bottled water, the hygiene products, toothpaste, toothbrushes. The AC Rescue Mission has been doing this for over 50 years, and they're asking us for help. It's time for us to give back.
Yep. So we'll be, talking about this throughout the month, and give you opportunity to say, hey, one day I'm going to stop at the store and help out. And with that, we will try to hook you up. Now, can't guarantee you're going to win something. If we get 100, 200 people, that means there's 100, 200 people in the hopper. We're not going to have 200 prizes. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But if we do, hopefully everybody gets something. If not, we'll have a good day, and hopefully everybody feels pretty good about themselves just by helping. And I know this is all leading up to something else big that is coming up for the rescue mission, that this is kind of the lead up to something even bigger.
It is. And, on August 10th at the Claridge in Atlantic City, the Atlantic City Rescue Mission has its annual summer gala. And I've been very, very fortunate to be asked by Howard Hirsch and Dan Brown from the Rescue Mission to speak at this event. It's a fantastic event. All the information is at acrescuemission.org. And it's a fantastic night of food, raffle items, trips that you can win, and just really rallying together to help the Atlantic City Rescue Mission. They are currently undergoing the potential renovation of their kitchen. And here's a stat for you, Mike. They are currently serving nearly 700 meals a night to area residents and families. And right now, out of their 8 industrial ovens that they're using, only 1 is fully functioning. So imagine caring for that many people on 1 oven. For scale, I had 15 people at my house on Thanksgiving. 1 oven. I was pulling whatever hair I have left out. So to be able to get with the Atlantic City Rescue Mission and help them bridge the gap, this kitchen renovation could cost nearly $500,000. So the funds that we raise on August 10th at the Claridge will go completely to the renovation and restoration of the kitchen at the Atlantic City Rescue Mission. So if you're a local business that would like to jump on board, if you have connections in the culinary world that could help us bridge the gap, it's acrescuemission.org. Howard Hirsch and his team doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, and we'll give you details on that, leading up to this, and then on the 31st we'll have details, out there at the broadcast and stuff. Maybe we'll get some stuff printed out to hand to people.
Perfect.
We certainly want to be a part of that and be there for the gala as well. And I know, one of the things with this is people always say, hey, I want to help. I want to do something. Well, this is a chance that it's really easy. I mean, you get a case of water for $3 and bring that down, and you don't know how much that would help somebody. Just one case of water, or a 4-pack of toilet paper that you'd be like, that cost me $1. You can go to the dollar store and get it for 99 cents, and boom, here you go. How appreciative the rescue mission would be.
There's no question, and it's not just homeless or addicted that rely on these services. There's a lot of area residents in this South Jersey area that are quietly utilizing the resources that the Atlantic City Rescue Mission provides. We're coming into some of the hottest times of the year, and bottled water from a hydration perspective is just so important for our residents that are struggling. The hygiene products, the toothpaste, the toothbrushes. Mike, I hate to say it this way, but these are probably things we take for granted in the blessed lives that we live. So to be able to partner with the AC Rescue Mission and the Golden Nugget and East Coast Roofing to be able to deliver this is something that's really powerful. And again, I know I'm probably beating the drum here, but what your team at 97.3 ESPN has done to step up just shows that not only do you guys care about this area, but you care about the future of the area. And I think that's what's really firing me up about being home here in the South Jersey
Well, I think
region.
Everybody listening today has picked up a newspaper or gone online and read an article about someone that they know that has got themselves down the wrong path. And to read those stories and hear about it every single day or weekly or monthly is too much. And if you could say, I want to help those people in a very, very small way, it would be amazing to do that. And that's why, we're hoping that our voice can get out to, our 50,000-watt signal, hitting 8 New Jersey counties, over into Delaware, down to Ocean City, Maryland. If you want to figure out how you can help out, go to our website, 973ESPN.com. And again, there's a lot of other things tied into this. We've got the Sixers memorabilia, the Flyers tickets, the Phillies tickets, the boxing stuff, the UFC stuff. CM Punk is going to donate, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to him on that day, and we'll have a big fun gala out of it ourselves on the 31st. Make something fun out of a way to help people.
The mini gala before they enter the real gala on
That's
Thursday,
right.
August 10th.
And here's the best part. You come over. It's a great night, July 31st. Afterwards, you can swing by Vic and Anthony's or the Chart House or the Deck and grab a drink. It's summertime. Let's have some fun with this thing.
Man.
And a few months ago, you guys invited me on to talk about a great event we were doing with Stop the Heroin. And I bring that up here to show the power and platform of sports that we've created as a collective team and as a collective group. Since that event on March 25th, Stop the Heroin has just surpassed 80 local residents that they have sent to continue their fight against addiction, to continue their fight against heroin, to sober living facilities. And that was largely born and bred out of our community rallying together. 80 may seem like a small number in the grand scheme of life, but a lot of those services start at $1,000 entry fee. So you go ahead and see the power of this thing. Now to be able to transition back to another fantastic organization with the Rescue Mission, July 31st. I have a feeling from a sports perspective, this is going to be one of the most fun events we throw, with the prizes, with the people we expect to participate, and then just the great backdrop of Atlantic City.
Yeah, and this is what we're going to do. Starting on Monday, we will register people on the air. Now, what is the benefit of being an on-air registry, I guess you could say? Well, when you register on the air, you are entered, you get a shot to win a prize. If you bring a supply that day, you get a second entry.
Wow.
So the people who enter on air, you get an entry. If you bring a supply to the event on the 31st, we will give you a second entry. And then if you do not enter on the air, hey, I can't get in, I'm not caller number 7, but I want to help, bring a supply to the studios or to East Coast Roofing, and you will get a voucher, and you will bring that out to the party that day, and that will be your entry to be eligible to win some of the prizes. So real quick, before we get to some Sixers things real fast, Dave, run down the list of memorabilia and prizes that the listeners can have an opportunity to win.
Absolutely. So just in, HBO Boxing is donating a memorabilia package. The Philadelphia Phillies are on board with tickets. The Philadelphia Flyers are on board with tickets. The Sixers have come on board with 2 club box seats along with a Dario Saric signed photo. We have memorabilia from the UFC, and a friend of the program, CM Punk, former WWE champion and UFC star, is donating signed memorabilia. That's just what we've created in 24 hours. So you can imagine, by getting entries into our raffle on July 31st, what we're going to be able to deliver. An incredible day, the Golden Nugget, Atlantic City on July 31st. I'm so pumped.
Yeah, it's we'll have details throughout the next couple of weeks, and you can go to our website, 973ESPN.com, for more. All right, Dave, well, we got you here. Let's get some updates. Ticket sales, we've all read about them, and I called and said, hey, we want to do a season ticket giveaway this year, and well, sorry, man, there's no season tickets to give away this year, which we were quite understanding of course.
That's a good problem to have.
The reason is because record numbers, and some people kind of, say, well, what are the numbers comparing to other teams in the league? 14,000 was the number we last heard. More than the Iverson era, more than Dr. J, Charles Barkley. It's got to be an exciting time in that aspect.
Oh, it's incredible. My office sits adjacent to our sales center. So the guys ring a bell every time they make a sale. I've closed my door for the last month. Just from the bell going off. It's been an incredible response. We're now closing in on 14,500 season ticket member packages sold. That's full season ticket member packages sold. Right now, tops in the league, and it's tops in Sixers history. For backstory for you, the day we brought in Markelle Fultz for a workout, it kind of came together last minute.
Yeah, it was a Saturday, yeah.
We were talking about a trade with the Boston Celtics, and I will never forget this moment as long as I live. We bring Markelle in an SUV from Upper Marlboro, Maryland, where he lives, and fans were lining the gates that were on the road adjacent to our facility, screaming for Markelle. Dozens and dozens of fans who found out about the workout, and it was at that moment that I said, here we go. We're on the cusp of something special. And I can't say enough good things about my interactions with Markelle Fultz and what I think he brings to the table. But you talk about the fandom and the passion. Our fans have been patient. They've been loyal. And I think this moment, getting Markelle Fultz, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, Dario Saric, a couple of free agents that we hope to have on the way here in the days to come, it's really, really exciting. It's palpable. I'm getting fired up just thinking about it.
As you alluded to, those deals not official yet, so obviously can't really speak a lot about them. But, we're hoping that something comes up maybe tomorrow. We'll see. And also, give us a little insight on the new building. I said I haven't even been there yet. We keep hearing the broadcast in the Summer League.
I've been there. It's gorgeous.
Some people, kind of scoff at that. Why would a building – you hear the broadcast during the Summer League. These guys have talked about that Utah Jazz new facility ad nauseum. The role that has played in, making this an attractive spot.
With all due respect to Utah and the tremendous plans that they're rolling out, we think we have the best facility in all of sports. 125,000 square feet of the latest and greatest in strength and conditioning and sports performance. We've hired a staff of some of the most accomplished people in the world to help our athletes prepare for the rigors of an 82-game plus NBA season. And I think the way athletes care for their bodies now has just skyrocketed based on the money and the demands of the league. I was fortunate to be a part of the build-out of the UFC Performance Institute, which recently opened. And I know what type of research goes into building out these facilities. And the Sixers training complex in Camden is, bar none, one of the most impressive facilities I've ever seen. During the UFC process, I had the great fortune of touring just about every major sports performance facility in the world. I went to Seattle. I was here in Philadelphia, New York, all over. You name it, I probably went. And what we've engineered in Camden, New Jersey for our Sixers is a big reason why our gym has been packed all summer. You ask anybody in basketball what a summer gym looks like, they'll tell you it's kind of hit and miss. Our gym's been packed.
And it's not just guys in the summer league. These are high-profile players.
Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons.
At all hours of the night.
All hours of the night.
You getting calls at like 2 a.m., hey, can you open the place for me?
They have key fobs that get them in, so they have free reign. We have a chef from the Steven Starr lineage who is our full-time chef.
Nice story about your chef.
Yeah, fantastic piece in Sports Illustrated if you have a chance to check that out. But this facility is just next level, Mike.
Dave, I remember when Mark Cuban took over the Mavs and he revamped their locker room in Dallas. He put video games in the lockers, of course, the private plane, the modernization, and that caught the eyes of other NBA players. Did you think that, okay, now the Sixers have to go that way, and that'll be the draw, and now the word is getting out that the Sixers are on par with those kind of modernization things that you saw on other teams?
I'll just say this. Folks, whether they're undrafted free agents, high-profile free agents, potential draft picks, they marvel at this facility. When agents come into our facility, the reality is people think that NBA players, they train 1 or 2 hours a day and they go home. No, our guys are at the facility 8 hours a day. So to create this atmosphere that has everything they need to amplify performance, it's been a real feather in our cap.
When I was up for that event that you held where it was like media shoot around and we did game of knockout and things like that, I was talking with Tom McGinnis. Love Tom McGinnis.
The man.
So sitting there chat with him and I saw behind him there was like boxes. They looked to me from my background like portable microphones, and I said, what are, and they were like numbered 1 through 12. I said, what are these things? He says, oh, this is really cool. He says, these are great. These are heart monitors. He says, every player that comes out gets one, so they're constantly monitored throughout the practice. I was like, whoa, this is really modern times.
Yeah, I mean, the science that has been infused into professional sports has taken the game to the entire, new level. I read an article the other day, you guys may have seen it, that LeBron James spends on average $1.5 million caring for his body every year. And you may say $1.5 million, what the hell's he doing? But the reality is that's what it takes to refine and fine-tune a body of his athletic caliber. And I think us having all of those same assets and resources under one roof is really going to help propel us forward. The elephant in the room is we've had history with injuries. We have, and we understand that. And Mike was making fun of it before I ran into the door here.
Right.
But the reality is we still very much believe in the team of practitioners that we've put together. And I think when you see Joel and you see Ben and you see the progressions these guys have made this offseason, you're going to go, wow.
Another quick thing just to touch on, we talked about ticket sales in the building, apparel. The fact that a buddy of mine owns an apparel store. He says, Mike, I've been doing this basically my whole life. 2001 Sixers, we couldn't keep stuff on the shelf. We've already surpassed that, and the season hasn't even started yet. That's number one. Number two, he said never in a month has Sixers apparel outsold Eagles apparel. In the month of June, Sixers apparel blew past Eagles apparel in this apparel store that the gentleman has owned virtually, has been in his family ever since I've known the guy, and I've known him since middle school, basically.
I like the way that sounds.
So I'm assuming that that's got to be something similar to where requests for T-shirts, hats, apparel, hoodies. I was at the Lid store in the Walk the other day, and the girl said, I can't keep the damn Sixers hats on the shelf. So I guess that's something that you're seeing?
We are seeing it in a big way. The NBA just released their numbers a week and a half ago. We were top 10 for merchandise sold, which is a fantastic feat for a team that, didn't make the playoffs. So I think people are understanding the type of progress we're making on and off the court. Joel Embiid in the month of January was one of the top 5 jersey sellers. And if you look at what we expect Markelle Fultz's jersey to do as well, you can't get merchandise for the Sixers right now. It's flying off the shelves. And here in a few short weeks, we'll unveil our new partnership, the league will, with a new jersey provider, which will make things even cooler for everyone. And it's a really, really fun time to not only be in the Sixers basketball side of the game, but to be in the Sixers business.
Dave, I got a question for you, but we got to pay some bills. We got to take a break real quick.
Let's do it.
Just hang around for a second here, and I'll ask my question when we come back with Dave Sholler, the Vice President of Communications for the Sixers. It's very important. Big
yeah,
question.
Man. All right. I can't wait to hear it myself. All right. Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Sports Bash Live on your Friday edition. I'm Mike. That's Pete. Dave Sholler, the Vice President of Communications for the Philadelphia 76ers. He's sitting in studio with us. Christmas in July. You can donate to our studios at 950 Chilton Road in Northfield, and that donation will get you an opportunity to win some great prizes from the 76ers, the Flyers, the Phillies, HBO Boxing, Showtime Boxing, the UFC, and more. This thing is growing by the minute, and if you are out there listening, you can come by and donate to our studios, and that will enter you for a chance to win one of those great prizes, and we will enter people on the air starting Monday on the Sports Bash. If you enter, you get a shot. If you bring a supply, you will get 2 entries. So that'll give you better lottery odds.
Sure, double the vouchers, better your odds. This was my hard-hitting journalism question to Dave Sholler that I had teed up before we had to take the break. So, Markelle Fultz, we saw him in Summer League wearing number 7, but obviously in college he wore number 20. I want to know if you're going to get involved in all of this mediation between him and TLC for how he ultimately gets the number that he most likely wants to play under.
He and TLC are continuing to have dialogue that is moving in a positive direction.
The smile on your face got wider and wider. As the
I look like a yellow Lamborghini that TLC
That
won.
was the first thing. Did you see that when TLC tweeted that out initially?
I will say this. Whatever happens, and you know Markelle wore number 7 in USA basketball. Whatever happens, I think these two are going to become lifelong friends over the dialogue. Sixers Social yesterday posted a great photo of those two guys sitting on the bench.
With
TLC with his arm around him.
Eddie and his father, people. Let me tell you about
exactly.
my best
That's exactly
friend.
right. I think you're going to end up with some lifelong friends out of this one.
That's pretty funny. 20 was his number in college. He's wearing 7. TLC has the 20 right now. So we'll see. And obviously, there's been a lot of interesting things. Can you imagine 2 years ago? Now, I know you weren't with the organization, but just you know what would happen. A team that won 10 games had a guy pay $1.5 million to come play for that team.
Yeah, it's pretty wild,
right?
I mean, it's pretty wild. And
have you got a chance to interact with Furkan yet?
I have. Furkan, I met him when he first came out to get a feel for the organization and the facility. A really humble kid, an impressive physical specimen in terms of when you see him with the ball in his hands and the way he can shoot. He continues to work with our strength team to add muscle. You know, people forget this is a young kid. He's not a 25 or 26-year-old guy. He's still got plenty of time to grow and develop. And as Brian Colangelo said, we think this is the perfect spot for him to continue that development, whether he's getting reps with the team in Philadelphia, working out with the Delaware 87ers, whatever that may be, which none of it has been decided. His work right now in the Summer League, I think, is a positive step forward. Mike, I think knowing the type of basketball player you like, having started our careers together in a broom closet in Linwood, New Jersey, I think Furkan is the type of player you'll grow to love because he can shoot. He is a very, very quick, agile player.
Was he the guy who was in the slam dunk contest wearing the Darth Vader cape?
Yeah. Wow, good research.
There you go. I thought that was him.
He's no joke. And another guy I'm excited about, we'll probably see him in a couple years down the road, is the big center from Latvia we drafted. Got him at the 25th pick.
AP is what I've been calling it.
And that's a smart
for
play.
now.
We got him from Orlando. Andrzej Pachesniks, one of the funniest draft picks I've also ever met.
Yeah.
For a 7-footer. The guy is incredibly funny, really gifted. Funny story about Andrzej, his agent is a big UFC fan. So he looked at me the day of the press conference and said, "What are you doing here?"
Right.
And I said, "I work here now." Yeah. He goes, "But you, UFC." I said, "Yeah, I left. I'm here now." He goes, "Oh, funny. Good."
He remembered you between the two fighters?
He might have remembered that moment, yes.
That's pretty funny.
Hey, how about the Summer League, TJ McConnell going out on his own dime to sort of serve as the mentor? I mean, that, to me, speaks volumes of what a great guy TJ McConnell must be.
He's such a stud. I mean, you tell me about a guy who, when I got here in November, there were people, including members of the media, that were questioning whether TJ belonged in the league. And I think the work he put in really demonstrated itself last year. He is a very, very formidable offensive player from an assist ratio perspective. He's also an emerging defender. And for me, soft spot because he was one of the first guys in the locker room to welcome me to the team and has kind of become a de facto little brother for me. So I love TJ McConnell. And he actually, and this is how cool TJ is, we've had several media opportunities for TJ out in Utah, and he would do anything we asked. But he said, listen, I want this to be about the young guys. And I think that, to me, is a sign of an emerging veteran player that fits really well in this league.
That's something that I brought up a lot that over the years I give the Sixers some credit for, because they've been criticized a lot for not going out and getting that mid-level free agent. And I know people said, well, they should have had veterans in here to kind of mentor these kids. And I've always kind of looked at it as, throughout this, whatever you want to call it, they have given the opportunity to players who would never get minutes on another team, because the pressure is to be mediocre. Just be competitive. And the Sixers said, it doesn't matter if you're competitive. Go find players. So T.J. McConnell gets minutes that he is not getting on another team. Robert Covington's getting minutes that he is not getting on another team, because those teams' ultimatum is be mediocre. Here it was, don't worry about wins and losses. Go find players. And if those players now have become your veterans, yeah, they went through the tough times, and maybe they could have had some help with a guy putting their arm around them and saying, hey, guy, don't worry. But I think they've developed their own veterans through this whole thing and said, you made it through the tough times. Now help the young guys when things are tough. You know what it was like already. And in the same process, you found guys who would have never got playing time on a team that was deemed to be mediocre.
That's a testament to one guy, in my opinion, Brett Brown. Brett Brown has done a fantastic job cultivating and developing talent and really building a culture. And I know culture at times can be that fun cliche word in sports, but Pete, you've been at the facility. You feel the culture that Brett Brown has created from the moment you walk through the doors, whether it's passing the sculptures of our legends that Brett played a huge role in making sure they had a presence at our facility, to the way we run practice, to the way we travel. There is a culture of togetherness that Brett has established. And when you talk about strategically adding draft picks or free agents, it's really important to have guys that fit that culture based on what we currently have. So you talk about player development, and in my eyes, you talk about Brian Colangelo and Brett Brown and the system that they've developed together. It's really, really palpable.
And to that culture, I mean, as we looked into Markelle Fultz's backstory, and everybody wondered why he would go 5,000 miles away to the complete opposite coast of where he grew up, it's because of loyalty. I mean, it was that was the biggest thing that jumped out to me. The first team that really came after him and looked at him in the recruiting process when he was, by the way, on JV, he stuck with them and went all the way out there. And I think, in this day and age, the modern NBA, I don't know how many players have that kind of loyalty and passion and sense of community service and all the things that it appears that Markelle Fultz has. You've met him and been with him, and he was on the radio with us briefly, but what are your impressions of the guy off the court? Maybe because we could talk about his on the court abilities.
High character.
Yeah.
High character, and it's evident in everything he does, from the company he keeps to the way he handles himself with the media and in the locker room. One of the things that really stood out, and I had a chance to have a one-on-one conversation with him the day we brought him in for the workout, and I just kind of was getting a feel for him. And I said, what's most important to you off the court with this opportunity that you have in the NBA? And without missing a beat and without sounding rehearsed, he said, I've just been so fortunate to have good people around me that I hope one day I can pay that forward to kids coming up in this game and who maybe are facing tough times in their lives. And for me, that rang home for how I came up, just as a regular old guy who's now a VP of communications, to see a player of his caliber, of his talent, understand the importance of his role. It showed and demonstrated a real maturity. And to me, it was like, that guy is the type of guy you want to invest in from a long-term perspective.
Before we run, if you could kind of give a little insight to our listeners on the craziness of that day, the Saturday that, okay, this might happen, we got to get him in here, because it had to be a whirlwind for not only him, but everybody in the organization. Like, all right, we're going to do this. Do we want to pull the trigger on this? Is this the guy or what? I would have to think that would be a pretty cool story for the listeners to kind of hear how that day all went, because Friday at 5:30, we're like here on the air, and then all of a sudden, boom, that story comes out. By Saturday, you got to figure out how to get them there. I'm sure it probably happened a little earlier than that, but the whole timeline of talking to Boston, getting them in there, working them out, deciding, let's pull the trigger on this deal.
So I was sitting in my office in Mays Landing, in my house. I have an office there, and I got a call from one of our executives saying, hey, like, this is a real possibility. And I actually have the notes I took.
Who makes that call?
Who called me that
Yeah.
day? It was Scott O'Neill.
Okay,
our
so he
CEO.
calls you.
So Scott
Hey,
O'Neill
man.
calls me that day. Hey, you're going to see these rumors. There's a chance we have an opportunity to pull a deal off, but we're not there yet. But just be ready. So that's common practice behind the scenes. You just want to get a heads up of some of the dialogue going on. And I have the notes that I took from that conversation that I'm actually going to frame because it was such a special moment for me in my NBA career just to take those notes. But the next day, we actually worked out 6 draft prospects in the morning. And as the morning progressed and we got closer and closer to the 6 players' availability to the media, our basketball administration staff pulled me aside and said, hey, there's a chance we're going to try to get Markelle Fultz in here later today. So we were in kind of pins and needles for several hours as we tried to get him down for a workout. Finally, we got word late in the afternoon with media camped out all over our facility that he was going to work out in the 7 o'clock hour. He rolls up in the black Chevy Suburban. I'll never forget it, with our fans reaching through the gates trying to touch, what we hope is the future of our organization. They're screaming, they're yelling. It was, for me, one of the most fun 17-hour work days I've ever had because you felt like if we could orchestrate this deal and get a player of Markelle Fultz's caliber, his fit, his play, his grit, his toughness, it just felt like the cool missing element to the team. And my favorite part, though, Mike, to answer your question directly, was when Markelle arrived, Ben Simmons arrived, Joel Embiid arrived, Robert Covington arrived. The team rallied together. They knew they all wanted this guy, and it was a really, really fun moment for me personally and also in Sixers history.
And I guess the big question moving forward will now be, you got 2 number 1 overall picks. Joel, who really should have been the number 1 pick. If he's not hurt, he probably is. At what point does somebody kind of say, all right, do they mesh together or do they break apart? And that's a question no one can answer.
Not yet.
See in Golden State that a guy of Kevin Durant's stature decided, I will take $10 million less to stay with these guys because I like it here. And I guess that will be something that Josh, the ownership team, will have to help answer, and that will be the big, really the key to everything is, can they keep this core together for a long time because they're all staggered, and that will be really the next key to this whole thing. And, of course, the health of everybody is very key to the well-being of the franchise. But Dave Sholler, the Vice President of Communication for the Sixers, really cool story there. Real quick again, Christmas in July, you guys can donate, win great prizes, help out the community, great party on the 31st, and also the gala in August.
That's it. July 31st, the Christmas in July supplies drive brought to you by Golden Nugget Atlantic City in support of East Coast Roofing, Siding, and Windows. And then on August 10th at the Claridge in Atlantic City, we have the Atlantic City Rescue Mission Summer Gala to raise money for the renovation of their kitchen. Again, they're serving nearly 700 meals a night out of one oven. And it's a nonprofit business, a faith-based nonprofit business. But I can't wait to see everybody. July 31st, Golden Nugget, Atlantic City. Thank you to 97.3 ESPN for, again, stepping up and showing what you guys mean to the South Jersey community.
Real quick, 2 club box tickets for a Sixers game, Dario Saric autographed memorabilia, UFC memorabilia, Flyers tickets, Phillies tickets, boxing memorabilia from both HBO and Showtime, 2 of the biggest names in boxing. CM Punk will be donating some stuff as well, and that is just in the last 24 hours. So we will give you updates. You can check the website, and yes, you can donate here at our studios, 950 Chilton Road in Northfield. All right, Dave, we appreciate you spending some time with us. I know you're on your way to Vegas.
Yes, sir.
Bring home a Summer League championship.
We'll do our best. We want a bigger championship.
I'm sure that's high on the agenda list, right?